Hi, I'm Linda from American Patchwork and Quilting, and I'm here with Angela Walters, who's the ambassador for Handy Quilter, and we're going to talk a little bit today about that all-over design for your quilt top, but we're going to change it up a little bit, because I've seen a lot of designs where it's not just one all-over design, but there's many different elements in it. So tell me more about that.
Well, I get bored easily, and I get bored quilting the same design over and over. So sometimes it's fun to throw in different designs in your quilt. And the quilts I have to show you do just that.
That's perfect.
Now this quilt is, you can tell I pieced it because there's not much going on there, a lot of negative space. But let me show you on the back, you can kind of see more of the quilting that I've done. Now I think when you're working on a quilt, it can be kind of intimidating. How do you break up the space? How do you go about doing that?
Exactly.
Well, one thing I like to do is to use the quilting to break it up. So here I've quilted a nice big row of circles, and then filled in above it and below it. So go ahead and add that divider first and then fill around it.
Perfect.
Another example would be this quilt right here. Now this might be me showing off just a little bit.
But it's beautiful.
But what you can do, again, is work your way down the whole quilt area, irregardless of the blocks or the elements of the quilt itself, by quilting rows of differing quilting designs. So going from the feather to a different filler and having fun that way. Now, if you're not a fan of doing it in rows, or let's say you're working on a home sewing machine where that's a little bit less convenient, you can combine designs within the quilt itself. And I have two really little samples here, but it kind of shows you how you can throw a lot of different designs in there and have a good time with it. So here I've combined some swirls and some leaves and some pebbles, and really lets you have more fun and adds a whole nother texture to your quilt. And this is just another littler sample of that. But this is the one I'm actually going to show you. You might think it would be a little hard to combine so many designs, but there's actually a little bit of a rhythm to it, and it's easier than you might think.
Yeah, I was wondering do you start with the largest one or the smallest one? So I hope you're going to show me that.
Absolutely. Well, whatever designs you want to work with, so sometimes I'll think through what I want to quilt, and so this time let's just do some swirls and other stuff. The biggest thing to remember is you want to do the bigger element first. So for me, if that's going to be the swirl, I'm going to quilt that first. Because it's easier to go ahead and quilt the big item and then fill in with the littler ones, right? So, however you want. And I might add just another little swirl over here. And then I'm going to use the medium-sized element. So maybe that's that little flower I was talking about. This kind of design, it's more important that the whole area is filled in as consistently as possible. I'm not worried about the individual elements. I just want to make sure there's no holes in the quilting. So by starting with a bigger element, then adding the next size, and then using those pebbles or a back and forth line to really kind of fill in is what will help make sure that whole area gets filled in nicely.
So you're filling in as you go, and you're adding transition pieces as well?
Yep, and you know, there's really no method. I mean, it's not like I'm saying 2 swirls to every 4 pebbles. You'll find a good routine that works, but just know that you have those little guys, those little pebbles to kind of fill in and have fun with it.
Sense.
Now you might think, well, this is a lot of stuff to put on a quilt, and it is. It could be overwhelming, but when I actually quilt this on a quilt top, I'm going to use a thread color that blends because I don't want the quilting to take away from the quilts. So on the samples I've showed today, I've used some contrasting threads so you can really see it.
Right.
But normally on a regular quilt, this is how I would work my way across with the thread color that blends. So.
And if you wanted something that was a little larger in scale, you could do the same design but in a larger pieces?
Yeah, depending on how much you want to show off or how much you want to get it done fast, you can make it smaller or bigger. It doesn't matter.
Well, thank you so much, Angela. I think these ideas are really great for showing me how to make an all-over design on a quilt, but do it in a way that just isn't one plain all-over design.
Exactly.
I hope it's inspired all of you as well to give this a try on your own quilts.